Karen's scream sliced through the quiet suburb like a siren announcing a storm. By noon, the neighborhood would never be the same. It started with a welcome mat, simple, faded, with "Home Sweet Home" stitched in clumsy letters. To Karen, it was an eyesore on Maple Street's pristine aesthetic. To Jack, the 68-year-old Navy veteran who'd lived there for decades, it was a relic of his late wife's warmth, a small anchor to a life he'd fought for. Karen, with her manicured nails and self-appointed role as the neighborhood's taste police, decided it had to go. She didn't ask. She didn't knock. She just took it. The morning sun baked the asphalt as Karen marched across Jack's lawn, her heels sinking into the grass he mowed every Sunday. She'd been eyeing that mat for weeks, muttering about property values. At HOA meetings she ran like a dictator. Jack, who'd survived 2 tours in Vietnam and a lifetime of loss, wasn't home when she snatched it. But his security camera was. By the time he returned from his morning coffee at the diner, the footage was waiting, a grainy video of Karen's smug grin as she tucked the mat under her arm and sauntered off. Jack didn't rage. He didn't curse. He just sat in his worn recliner, staring at the empty spot by his door, feeling the weight of violation settle into his bones. That mat wasn't just fabric, it was the last thing his wife, Ellen, had picked out before cancer took her. He'd carried it through 3 moves, a quiet promise to keep her close. Now, it was gone, and Karen, queen of cul-de-sac complaints, was the thief. Word spread like wildfire. By lunchtime, neighbors were whispering over fences. "Karen stole Jack's mat," one asked, incredulous. "The Navy guy? She's got guts." Another shook her head, "She's got no shame." The neighborhood, a tight-knit grid of bungalows and picket fences, was no stranger to Karen's antics. She'd reported kids for chalk drawings, fined a widow for an overgrown hedge, and once called the cops on a barbecue for excessive smoke. But this? This was personal. This was war. Jack didn't confront her right away. He was methodical, a man forged by discipline. He printed stills from the footage and taped them to every mailbox on the street. "Karen stole my mat," the flyers read, with a timestamp in her face, mid-smirk. By evening, Maple Street was a powder keg. Neighbors took sides. Some, tired of Karen's reign, rallied behind Jack. Others, her loyal HOA cronies, called it a misunderstanding. "Maybe she thought it was trash," one said, unconvincingly. Karen, unfazed, doubled down. She stood on her porch, arms crossed, declaring to anyone who'd listen that Jack's mat was tacky and a blight. She claimed she'd done the street a favor, tossing it in her garage like a trophy. But Jack wasn't playing her game. He knocked on her door at 7 p.m., calm as a storm's eye, and asked for it back. "It's not about the mat," he said, voice low. "It's about respect." Karen laughed, a sharp, grating sound, and slammed the door. That's when the neighborhood cracked open. The next morning, Jack's supporters, led by Maria, a fiery single mom who'd clashed with Karen over her son's skateboard, organized a protest. They gathered on Jack's lawn, holding signs, "Give Jack his mat back," and "Karen's not queen." Someone brought a megaphone, and Maria's voice boomed, "We're done with your bullying, Karen." Kids chalked "thief" on the sidewalk. A teenager flew a drone over Karen's house, filming her pacing inside. Karen, cornered, didn't back down. She called the police, claiming harassment. When the cops arrived, they watched Jack's footage, shook their heads, and told her to return the mat. "It's a civil matter," one officer said, but the look in his eyes said more, "You're on your own." Karen, red-faced, stormed into her garage and flung the mat at Jack's feet. "Take your trash," she spat. Jack picked it up, dusted it off, and laid it back by his door. The crowd cheered. For a moment, it felt like justice. But Karen wasn't done. She went nuclear, posting a 2,000-word rant on the neighborhood's private Facebook group. She called Jack a bitter old man and accused him of weaponizing his veteran status. She claimed the mat was a health hazard, citing non-existent HOA bylaws. She even dragged Ellen's memory into it, saying the mat was an insult to good taste. The post backfired. Comments flooded in, tearing her apart. "You stole from a vet," one read. "You're the hazard," said another. By nightfall, Karen had deactivated her account. The tension simmered for days. Jack's allies kept watch, expecting retaliation. They weren't wrong. On Friday night, under cover of darkness, Karen crept onto Jack's property with a can of red spray paint. She defaced his mailbox, scrawling "liar" in dripping letters. But Jack's camera caught her again. This time, he didn't just share the footage with neighbors. He sent it to the local news. By Monday, the story was everywhere. "Suburban Showdown, Woman Steals Veteran's Welcome Mat," the headlines blared. Reporters camped outside Karen's house. Her HOA presidency was revoked in an emergency meeting. Her husband, a quiet accountant who'd stayed out of her crusades, packed a bag and left for his brother's. Karen, once the neighborhood's self-styled enforcer, was now its pariah. She stopped leaving her house. Her curtains stayed drawn. Jack, meanwhile, became a reluctant hero. Neighbors dropped off casseroles, cards, even new welcome mats he didn't need. He thanked them but kept to himself, haunted by the ordeal. The mat was back, but the violation lingered. He'd fought for his country, survived loss, and now faced a petty theft that exposed the ugliness beneath the suburb's polished surface. "It's not about the mat," he told Maria one evening, his voice heavy. "It's about what we've lost as people." The story didn't end with triumph. Karen's life unraveled, but so did the neighborhood's fragile peace. Distrust festered. Some saw Jack as a victim, others thought he'd escalated too far. The street, once alive with block parties, grew quiet. Jack still mowed his lawn every Sunday, but he stopped waving at passers-by. Karen's house went up for sale, but no one bid. The mat stayed by Jack's door, a silent reminder of a wound that never fully healed. In the end, a stolen mat tore open truths no one wanted to face: pride blinds, respect binds, and communities can break over the smallest slights. Jack's fight wasn't just for a piece of fabric, it was for dignity in a world quick to trample it. Karen's fall wasn't just punishment, it was a mirror to her own unraveling. The neighborhood watched, judged, and fractured, proving that even the smallest acts can ripple into chaos. What do you think? Was Jack right to fight back, or did the neighborhood's vengeance go too far? Share your thoughts on where justice lies in this tangled mess.